Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be my review of Marvel's What If Episode 2. This episode ponders the question, what if T'Challa became Star-Lord? Now this was a super interesting concept, and of course I'm a big fan of Chadwick Boseman. Sadly, he passed away last year in 2020, and his last performance for the MCU is going to be voice acting for the show. He's actually got 4 appearances in the entirety of the first season, but this was the first time we've seen him in the actual show, and I gotta say, I really liked this episode. I liked it more than the first one, which was Captain Carter, and I know the biggest complaint that a lot of people had with episode 1 was that it was essentially Captain America the First Avenger with a skin on it, which would be Peggy Carter, basically doing the exact same thing that happened in that movie, besides minor changes, especially the big change at the end. But episode 2 is way different. Like, it just follows the similar premise of Guardians of the Galaxy 1, where Yondu is abducting kids, but this time he abducts T'Challa over Peter Quill. And it was a super... Daisy, what are you doing? And it was a super interesting concept. Like, instead of abducting the actual kid who they were looking for, Peter Quill, they were in Wakanda and just found T'Challa, and then he just goes and explores the galaxy. It was a really interesting concept. The episode did follow some similar themes where they have to go after the Power Stone in that little orb, but I would say the big difference in this episode compared to Guardians of the Galaxy 1 was that Star-Lord is actually like an intergalactic Robin Hood, steals from the rich and gives to the poor, and I really like the message of this episode. It was peace and positivity. Star-Lord's not really a bounty hunter in this episode. He's more of like a do-gooder across the galaxy, which to be honest was a nice change, and that's how Black Panther was in the MCU. He was always like a really good guy, and I'm glad they brought that theme over to T'Challa as Star-Lord, because they easily could have just made him like a bounty hunter but being T'Challa, and I'm glad they stuck to the character's roots. And Chadwick Boseman was like this in real life too, so it was really nice to just see like his final appearance being basically himself and Black Panther in an animated form. Now, like I said in my review of the first episode, the animation was awesome again. It's really fluid, it's really crisp, it's really dynamic, and I really like the style of animation that they're going with for the What If series. The voice acting in episode 2 was a bit better as well. I know some people had some complaints with episode 1. I didn't think it was that bad, but this episode definitely was a little bit better. So anyways, back to the story of this episode. They're essentially going to meet up with the Collector, who wants to put Star-Lord or T'Challa in his collection. And another question that this episode asks is, what if the Collector went on steroids? This dude is massive in this episode. Like, in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, he's this like skinny little weird dude, and in episode 2 of What If, this guy is swole. Like, he is dieseled. He is collecting every form of steroids in the galaxy, and I really enjoyed him being the villain in this episode. Now, Star-Lord obviously isn't alone. He's with the Ravagers, so we do have some familiar faces from the Ravagers returning in this episode, but we do get some new faces which I wasn't expecting in this episode. We actually get a blonde version of Nebula who was really good in this episode, and I think there's a little bit of a romance between her and T'Challa. She calls T'Challa Cha-Cha, and that might be like a little playful banter between them, I don't really know. But we also get her dad in this episode, which I was not expecting at all, the Mad Titan, Thanos himself. And in this What If episode, he's not a genocidal maniac. He's actually a dude who, I guess technically he was, but he had a conversation with T'Challa, and T'Challa actually changed his whole mind on this genocidal nonsense, and he's trying to bring peace alongside T'Challa in the universe. So instead of erasing half of existence, he's trying to save that half, and do so by doing good things, which is just mind-blowing. And it was actually pretty scary how quickly I was like, oh, okay, you know, I can accept him being a good guy. After Marvel spent over 20 movies making this guy a major villain, I don't know why I accepted him being good so fast, but hey, whatever. He was awesome in this episode. The animation on him was great. He had a really good fight scene as well, and it was interesting to see a good version of Thanos fighting alongside T'Challa and the Ravagers and his daughter Nebula. Now, we haven't seen Gamora just yet, but she will be popping up in a future episode, and she also does join the What If version of the Avengers. The Black Order also made an appearance in this episode, and they are working alongside the Collector, which was awesome because I'm a big fan of the Black Order. Like, pretty much every member of that group is really interesting and has their own set of unique abilities, and I really like that fight scene between between Thanos and Call Obsidian. That was probably my favorite fight scene out of the entire episode. But yeah, that was a really good episode of Marvel's What If. It was my favorite out of the two that we've seen so far. Actually, what am I doing? I haven't even talked about the end of the episode. So anyways, T'Challa goes back to Wakanda, and that was a really emotional scene. Like, I literally had goosebumps when he walked through the door and saw his father after 20 years. Really, really deep stuff. And then, of course, they had that dedication at the very end to Chadwick Boseman. Even more goosebumps after reading what was on the screen there. Rest in peace, of course, but really that final part of the episode just gave me all of the feels. And then we get a little post-credit scene at a local Dairy Queen where Peter Quill is mopping the ground, and then Ego shows up and he's like, "What's up, son? Let's go ahead and take over the world." So I think maybe Ego or the Celestials, or maybe Ego and Peter Quill will be the big bad for Marvel's What If Season 1, which I think is a pretty solid opposition for the Avengers to fight. But I gotta say, episode 2 was a really solid episode. I don't really have any complaints. Like, yes, the pacing was a little bit quick again, and I think they could have maybe made these episodes like 45 to 50 minutes, but it didn't feel as rushed as episode 1, which was nice. But overall, the action was good, the animation was good, the story was good, the changes were good. It didn't follow exactly what happened in Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Voice performances were good as well, and I had a great time watching this episode, and I cannot wait for next Wednesday to watch episode 3. I'm pretty sure that's the Spider-Man episode, and I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. So yeah, Marvel's What If continues to be really good. Leave a comment down below of what you guys thought about episode 2. Did you like it more than episode 1, or did you prefer the Captain Carter story? Also, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you like and subscribe. I'll be posting a ton of videos relating to Marvel, especially because we've got Shang-Chi coming out in about a couple of weeks. Then we have What If coming out every week as well. So lots and lots of content, and you don't want to miss out. So yeah, that's it for the video. Thank you again for watching. I hope you guys all have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next video.